All right, folks, welcome to another round of Beating 42. Sorry for last week, skipping. We were just both sooking because both the Titans and the Dragons lost, so we thought we'd skip it. So this week, same thing happened, and we figured we just had to do it anyway. So a few highlights from round 7. It hurts me, but the Bunnies come back. It just killed me, bud. What happened?
Super second half by the Bunnies. Benji turned back the clock. Suits their style of play quite well. But the big thing for me was Fafita just packing it in at half time, right? So 3 tries in the first 20-something minutes and then 2 touches in the second half. Very, very soft effort, right? So he needs to be better. Yeah,
absolutely. And I know every team that loses always wants to blame the referees, and I'm one of them. But that first 20 minutes after halftime, where there were 5 or 6 set restarts against the Titans, that just turned the game, and it basically set the second half up for success for the Bunnies. But look, I'm with you. Fafita needs to be better at the hard work, and the good plays will come, but you got to make your tackles, mate. And when you're out there, you got to work hard.
Yeah, and Holbrook needs to work on their discipline so they don't give away all those restarts, right? So.
Wow. Yeah, all right. Hey, that. Anyway, we'll move on. So, Dogs finally get a win. How relieved does the team feel?
Yeah, T-Baz had the tears rolling, right? First win as a Dog, right? So, might be a while till he's next.
Yes.
Yeah, look, it was good. I mean, disappointing if you're a Sharkies fan because you got to win those games if you want to be in the top 8. But great for the Dogs. They really scrambled hard. They worked hard in defence. They had a lot of sets again on their line and managed to hold them out in the end, right? So well done to the Doggies. It's good to see them off the 0.
Yeah, you're right. And look, the Dogs came hard in that last 10 or 15 minutes, and they nearly snatched it. But some good solid defence. And you're right.
Sharks can't.
Yeah, the Dogs can't beat the Dogs, but yeah, it was a really good defensive effort in that last 10 or 15 minutes because they could have just packed it in like the Titans.
Absolutely. So, and I think that if the Sharkies had got over, not that they would have backed Chad Townsend to kick a goal from the sideline with the game on the line, but if they had got back into it, I could see the Dogs just dropping, right? So
absolutely.
Well done, Doggies. Well done.
And speaking of teams that are really struggling, gee whiz, those Tigers, they just got smashed again.
I mean, how bad can you be, right? I mean, after the effort that they put in a couple of weeks ago for Tommy, and this week, just an insipid performance. And Luke Brooks comes out and says, yeah, we just didn't turn up. 2 weeks after you didn't turn up for Tommy's farewell. I mean, seriously, they need more than a pub bonding session to get their season back online, right? Their season is gone.
Yeah. And look, just another note that I want to point out. How bad were those team jerseys for both teams?
Oh, just tragic, right? So I agree. Why the Manly team had orange on their jersey just makes no sense. Why did South wear a blue jersey, for God's sake? Right? It was horrendous.
Yeah.
So anyway, Anzac round, great round. Always love listening to the last post. Done for another year.
Yep. And look, I agree. I love watching that last post. And just one final note on that. I think they need to have the anthems played first because I think the last post has way more emotion and feeling to it. And it feels like when they get rid of
the anthems. Yeah, no anthems. Just go with the last post. Get on with the game.
Exactly. And let them
then you also lose a few more minutes. The players then have to warm up because they've stood for another 5 minutes, right? So fully aligned.
Yeah. So just a bit of news of the week. So what's your thoughts on the send-offs, mate? Obviously, the referees have been given the green light to send in players when they think something's a little bit dodgy. Have they gone too far?
In some cases, they've gone too far. In some cases, maybe they didn't go far enough, right? So you look at the Dragons game where Pereira just clipped Tedesco on the chin. 3 weeks for that. If you're going to get 3 weeks, you deserve to be sent off, right? But lucky for us, he only got 10 minutes. Otherwise, the score could have been anything. But then you also look, the 10 minutes that Curran got for just didn't look like anything in that. It's like the refs are a little bit scared of not sending a guy at least for 10 minutes because they don't want to be on the other side where they look bad, because then the team who loses a player to concussion couldn't use a replacement, right? So it's a tough one at this point in time. But they've got to be careful they don't lose the physicality from the game, because it is a physical game.
Absolutely. And I think it's really interesting that it was the same ref, and his name's escaped me, but
Ashley Klein.
So he's the one that sent off Hetherington without a blink of an eye, but was a little bit hesitant to send off Pereira because he would have been the only ref to do that. And I give him credit for at least putting him in the bin and not overreacting. But if it was a different ref, you would expect someone to just have a few more balls and make the call.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know what? Maybe he didn't get the view, right? So
yeah.
Maybe he didn't get the line of sight that gave him that clear vision. The bunker had several times to look at it.
Yes.
They didn't come through and say, hey, he's got to go. So there's got to be some work on improving the alignment and not taking it too far when, like Curran, I don't know what else he could have done in that case. Yeah. It was just, and now the guy's looking at a suspension, which is even more travesty.
Brutally unfair on Curran. But anyway, that's the way it is. So, and look, basically the suspensions that have gone hand in hand with these send-offs, some of those are a little bit scattered as well. So I don't know. I don't think we need to blow up the whole system, but something needs to change to make sure it's consistent every week.
It's got to be an investigation.
It does. Right. So the other news is, wow, how many halfbacks have already started moving teams and how many more are to come?
Yeah, well, Dearden signs with Cowboys, and now he's banished to the Reggies to play reserve grade, right? So a bit unfair on the kid. Townsend goes to Cowboys. I'm not quite sure about that. They both seem pretty similar players to me.
I don't think it's a good match.
Yeah, and then you've got Drinkwater, who's there at the moment, who hasn't got a club to go to yet. Hampton's already decided to go to Newcastle, I think. Right? So you got to wonder how the Cowboys are going to travel in the next few weeks with Scotty Drinkwater's, what he's thinking. But yeah, look, there's a few more big pieces to go that are going to determine what happens, isn't it? Right. So Moses, I think, has until round 10 to decide on his option. So him staying or going, you got to think he'll stay. We'll have a major determinant on that, right? So, and Reynolds, well, the talk is to the Sharkies. Well, they don't have a halfback now, right? So, so we'll see what goes on there.
Well, that's the part of the carousel, right? So Sean Johnson, who was massively overpaid to come from the Warriors to the Sharks, underperformed for a couple of years. Where does he fit in? There's talk he's going to the Broncos. But if I'm Moses, I'm staying at the Eels. Genuine contenders. Brisbane are not.
Yep.
Johnson maybe goes to the Broncos to get the dollars.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see him going to the Broncos. I can see him fitting into the Titans too, to be honest, right? Because Fogarty's that steady player, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you need someone to partner him who's got a bit more flash than what Ash Taylor has, right? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, right? Milford also off contract as well. I don't know where he's going to go. So it's interesting times ahead.
Sure
Lots
is.
of opportunity to speculate.
Yeah, and look, I wouldn't mind if Ash Taylor went to another team and freed up a bit of salary cap for the Titans as well. So, speaking of which, these name changes that have occurred during the off season for players that have been around for years. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, you know, surely if you've been in the league for 5 years, right, like Nick Chotrick, you should know how your name is pronounced, right? So you've had enough time to fix all that stuff up, right? I don't know. I think it's a bit excessive. But what do you think, Mark? Food?
Correct. Well, look, you know what? I think Josh Papali got a little bit jealous and thought the name Papali'i sounded much cooler, and so he's jumped on that. And then Charles Nickel Krukstad just did the same thing. So you know what? Look, it's their name. They can do what they want.
Their name, just decided early.
Yeah.
Like which country you're going to play for, decided early.
Oh, exactly. And a whole nother discussion about whether or not you're eligible for Origin. Really happy that they didn't let Tamalolo play for Queensland in the Origin, even though I'm a Queensland fan. It just would have taken away from the whole concept. So
yeah, that's right. I mean, there'll be some great pommy who they'll be wanting to pull into one of the other teams as well. Where does it stop? So yeah, I agree.
So, all right, mate. Well, thanks for your feedback from last week, and yeah, we'll talk to you about this upcoming game shortly.
All right, don't forget to hit subscribe.